I told y'all, but you didn't want to listen. We were going to be back in just an hour after we closed out the Friday locker room. Ultra Kayfabe Declassified Quarantine Transmission. I'm back here with the young studs. They're going to blow me up in this ring because they can pull a lot more cardio than I can. This old man's got to keep up with these young bucks. And we're going to do it win, lose, or draw here at hackerhamin.podbean.com because we're going to light the fuse and make it go kaboom on your AEW review. Y'all. Chris Silvio, MSG, Hacker Hamin back, you guys. More entertainment here, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, hackerhamin.podbean.com. Glad to check in with all of my Hamin soldiers and loyalists across the globe through the miracle of technology, man. Sometimes I think it's lost. We get frustrated when things don't work, but the fact that I can sit here and look at you on the West Coast, MSG, and my man Sil down in Florida, in real time and talk back and forth like we're in the same room. I don't want that to be lost, that we have a glorious connection in 2020. And while we might feel quarantined at home, this is an awesome way to be able to reach out and feel like we're outside of ourselves. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, man. The world's kind of fucked up right now, but I don't want people to forget there's a lot of good things going on and a lot of positivity still out there. We got us out here, you know, especially you, Hamin, and you, MSG, putting out work every day to give the people, the wrestling fans, the boys, just something to be entertained by. Man, at times like this, that's what we need. We need entertainment. I think it's cool. Like, a lot of people have given them some shit about it. But I think yes, it's about money, but I think it's cool that fucking WWE's been going out of their way to put on a show, whether or not, however anybody feels about it, whatever. But I think it's cool that they're going out of their way to do it. Same with AEW. We found that they've kind of done this no fans thing the best of everyone. But yeah, man, I think it's awesome that people like us in wrestling, think about it, man. We're like one of the only industries that are still trying to put shit out. Football stop.
Pretty close. Stop. The only industry. Sitcoms, everybody's shut down. Even movie production's getting delayed.
You can't fucking kill us, bro. We're like a fucking cockroach in Harlem.
Yeah, the carnies are going to carny no matter what. We'll gypsy up and pack up the truck and move to the next town and bring it. But, I mean, the real question is, do you think I could ever have arms as big as Khalil? Look, I'm working. I'm trying every day. No? Fuck.
And Khalil's claimed to be 100% drug-free his whole life. I believe him. His arms are ridiculous. But.
Yeah, I think he takes shark blood or something because something ain't right with him, dude. Shout out Khalil in Vegas. This is a good time. My point is to catch up with somebody you might have lost touch with because guess what? They're sitting at home too. So make a connection with somebody. We're glad you're making a connection with us here as we try and connect everything to make sure the Dynamite's lit to explode. MSG, what's going down, man? How are you, buddy?
Well, you know, on a budget less than $100, we sound and look better than a pair on ABC right now who are doing the exact same style of show, Live with Kelly, with hundreds of millions of dollar budget, and our audio and video sounds better than them. So you're tuned into the right place. You don't need to tune into the garbage if you're just waking up right now on the West Coast because Live with Kelly's about to start. Fuck that. Watch this show, light the fuse. We're right here to give you better quality content, and we're not going to brainwash you with mindless nonsense. So I'm doing great. I'm ready to rock it.
Kelly show.
Yeah, they're on right now. They're basically doing the Skype thing they're doing the Skype thing side by side right now. It's kind of funny because I have the IFB before they set up every day. So like I get to listen and watch how they're setting up. It's
dude, I got to admit that whatever she is, 52, 53, Kelly Ripa's still banging, man.
Yeah, she got good legs.
I was thinking of, because not that I watch that shit because I have whatever on Wu-Tang, but I look up at the gym and she was on there. And I was thinking, man, she would be good for like, she looks like somebody from the future from space, like in a Star Wars thing. Like she like people don't take her seriously because they do the morning fluff piece for the Nancy Browns. But it's just weird that you would mention that name because that's not something I think about. But I had just seen her like right before we got quarantined. They shut the gyms. I was like, dude, she looks like she should be in The Mandalorian. You could cast her, man, for sure.
She used to act. When I was growing up, my mother was a diehard soap opera fan. And for some reason, when I was like a teenager, I would watch them every day with her. Maybe it's because I liked wrestling and was used to that kind of crazy dialogue and fucking stories. But yeah, I used to watch her every day. She was on General Hospital.
Yeah, that's where she started. Met her husband, who's an actor, and he's one of the guys on that Riverdale Archie and Bunker show or something now. I don't know.
Yeah.
What bothers me though is I tune in and Kelly's Rip was all dressed.
You're hot. You're so hot right now.
Sorry. What bothered? I'm really away from the mic.
You can pull the mic back if you want to there.
So I was just gonna say what bothers me is that Kelly Ripa, she dresses up all nice to be on TV, and Ryan Seacrest is there in his fucking pajamas, and I'm just like, bro, make a fucking effort. You're on live morning television right now.
At least wear the merch, bro. At least wear the merch.
Right,
something.
Or something.
But there you go, boys. Shout out to Kelly Ripa. I usually am not into like really small girls or thin girls, but Kelly Ripa's doing all right for herself. Keep it up.
Who you think would go over, Hoda and what's her name, or Kelly Ripa and Seacrest if they all got into a shoot?
Kelly and Seacrest for sure, and more Kelly than Seacrest. But the other bitches are all wind up, so they might not, feel it.
That's what I'm saying. They might just be nuts, hair pulling and all kinds of stuff. And that's the last thing Seacrest wants is anybody pulling on his plugs. That's the main.
I can see them chicks going like Goldberg / Sandman style, fucking smashing wine glasses on their head, banging to the wall, fuck Ryan's world up.
Smashing wine glasses. They're not going to spit out any wine in anybody's face. They're not letting any wine go to waste. No way.
They'll be sending his ass to TRL quick.
Kelly's a fiery one too. She got mad. I remember they were talking about it years ago. Michael Strahan left the show. She was super pissed, and she's like, "He's never allowed back on my show again." And she's so you don't want to cross, man.
Wow. In
the television world, I guess that is.
She's been over for a long time. I didn't know about this soap opera stuff because I don't watch bullshit. But it's shout out how we got there. This is the way the technology is. You know what I mean? That's as good for them as it is for us now. And that's, I think, great, dude, because it opens up the world to everybody having a voice really and being able to share it. So
I got a couple stories here to start. You might have talked about this in the locker room, but I haven't listened to the recording on Twitch yet this morning. But WWE announced that their corporate website that the chairman and chief executive Vince McMahon has entered into a prepaid forward contract to transfer $3.5 million worth of Class B stock, a move designed to infuse WWE with liquid assets. Essentially, WWE gets the money in exchange for McMahon trading the equivalent shares at a later date. Interesting. Vince is putting his money now back into it. Is there some signs I should be looking into here?
Yeah, we did cover this. So you guys, it'll air tomorrow morning. I'll be up at 5 a.m., 5:15, whatever. But Vince has gotten $3.5 million on a B stock, which there's 25 million plus shares, like 25.1. Or 25,198,000, I think 344 to be exact. I think that's what it was. But that's B stock that he's leveraging for 4.5% of that. So there's that many shares of B stock, and for 4.5%, he got $3.5 million on investment against that. Now, the deal isn't that they own that or he sold it off. It's that in 2024, he can pay that money back, the value of what that stock will be in 2024, or they take that stock if it's not. So he has the option to buy it out
short term,
right, short it. And so this is like a 4-year upfront loan for what could possibly. Now, the old man could die in that amount of time. They could sell to Disney or Amazon. A bunch of things could happen, right? So that's why these short terms. Now, Vince still owns 70.5% of the company with Class A stocks. And these B stocks will become Class A shares in 2024. That's also in the deal. So it's a very big,
that's complicated.
Yeah.
I just had business math flashbacks for a moment here.
Well, I just read all the copy on the locker room. So if you really want to listen to the terrible lawyer verbiage, it's all in there. But yeah, man, this is interesting. Now, what do I think it's for? Maybe short term to keep people working from home paid. The money they lost, they probably have a lot of vendors that they have to pay out for WrestleMania that, were contracts. I imagine a lot of it's probably for that kind of stuff. just to free up some cash, because it wasn't long ago that he took out $120 million of his own money. And before that, I think it was like 78 million or something. You know, everybody cashed in, right? So did they know something was coming? Maybe. Or was that for XFL influx? Maybe. Saudis paid him $50 million after he threw the temper tantrum when they held him hostage, right? So
Yeah.
it's
I got two things.
go ahead.
With that company, you know, 50 million, I guess, would only go so far, right? But with them, I'm pretty sure they're either have or they're on their way to kind of ceasing actions for a while. You might know a little bit more, but from what I understand, due to the new restrictions in Orlando, they may not be able to tape. So I believe they got a lot of stuff in the can. I've heard rumors as to.
Yeah, I heard they're taping both different finishes for worrying about leaks. But I'm thinking to myself, dude, but that's still a rumor that got out. So I'm saying to myself, if you're worrying about leaks on a closed set, how can you not trust the people even on your closed set to not stooge off your finishes? That speaks to a bigger problem to me, that you couldn't vet the amount of people that it would take and make sure they're not stooging, and that it doesn't get to PW Insider or Meltzer to hit the Observer, you know. The other part of this is still, and I don't know if you watched Raw or not, but
No, I missed it.
Okay, so another thing I read in the locker room was that they're shutting down everything in Orlando, in that county, which is where Full Sail and NXT are, and the Performance Center are, except for medical food and emergency situations. That's it. So on Raw, they had the graphic on either side of the entrance, WrestleMania, right? Boom, boom, you enter. And instead of April 4th and 5th, it said a week from next Saturday. Like this really ambiguous language, right? So what if you watched Raw that following Sunday? Like, you're not tied to anything. And I think they're using this ambiguous language because of these shutdowns. They're wanting to pass the heat onto the county and cancel WrestleMania. They're still holding on for some contract reasons and insurance reasons. But things like that, a week from next Saturday. Why would you put that instead of a hard 2 nights, April 4th, 5th, boom, right? Like that was a choice that stuck out to me, dude.
That's a little strange. Hey, you live in New York. Is Connecticut shelter at home right now?
I think almost every place is at this point, dude. I couldn't tell you for sure without checking quick on the web, but as close as it is to New York City, where the ultimate lockdown is, and the National Guard is moving in, then I gotta believe Connecticut would be too, with the amount of people who travel back and forth.
And the other thing with all this too, man, you guys are talking about the stocks. We know it's a fucking uphill battle and a ballsy move, but that's how Vince rolls, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Is this going to kill the XFL completely?
Good question.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough
bad
for everybody.
Those players, you know, they've been busting their asses. And fans seem to kind of like it. I'm not a big football guy, but I see shit online and the fans seem to like it.
It's different because you're not into franchise teams where you've watched them all be built, and you know the combinations of this guy to that guy, and you know they run a power, this and that. It's just back to football with guys who are good, but they haven't worked with each other. Is it going to come off? And the excitement is it going to be a botch, or is it going to be a fucking score? So you're not having to worry about egos and franchise players and big contracts. You worry about crazy plays and action. That's what makes it exciting. Like, it's taken that part of football out of it. And all these guys are playing because they want a shot at the NFL, and they know that this is their OVW, and they're getting watched. So, you know, that's the opportunity. So that's what really makes XFL different and exciting. They were smart to shut it down when they did. But we'll see if they can come back. Maybe they even come out on top because of the money they're saving. I don't know if it was a loss leader. I think of NXT, and I've heard two different numbers, and it was at two different times, that NXT is a loss leader at $20 million to $40 million a year. That's what it costs WWE to run. Like, NXT makes no money.
So with that TV deal, they're just breaking even at this point.
Possibly not even. No, dude. Like with the TV deal, it's still a $20 to $40 million loss per year for WWE expense wise.
That's why Triple H is probably not in charge anymore, because it's not making Mr. McMahon enough money, right?
No, I don't think anybody ever. I don't think OVW ever did too. It's easy to try and pass the heat. It's not about that. It's about the fact that how do you recoup that? Well, you need to make a star that's going to be a box office draw out of there that makes the money to make up for it, and show me that that's a model that'll work over and over again. Otherwise, think about all the guys they've hired that are under contract that are phenomenal athletes, former Olympians, football guys, track guys, whatever. Have you ever heard or seen any of those guys on NXT? There's probably
Bianca Belair.
There's probably 30 of them, right?
Bianca Belair and her husband, what's his name? I worked the guy. Montez Ford.
Yeah.
He was some kind of athlete. His partner Dawkins, I think, was a basketball player.
Yeah.
Then we got the jacked one, Riddick Moss. But, I mean, that's really about it over the course of, what have they been in business now since 2013, 2014?
Pretty much. And there's still a lot of them that have been under contract for 2-3 years who are just getting paid to work out. But will they ever care, know, or want to really become performers and pro wrestlers? Just because they're athletes doesn't mean you're a performer. Like this is, sure, it takes the athletics part of it to some degree, which I lack on. So I make up with the performance end of it, and if you don't have that performance end and you can just do the camp and get over because you got over from your other hard work, that doesn't mean you're going to be a success or a money earner in this business at all, dude. That doesn't mean that for a second. So that's why it's a big loss leader to just like have this college of people who are getting paid to learn their craft who may never pay off for you, may never see the light of day on TV.
Have you guys ever seen Dan Matha? I can't remember how he pronounces it. He's about a 7 foot tall, very good shape, bald white guy.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, the movie guy?
I don't know if he's a movie guy or not, but from his story, he went to OVW to train, and he was a former college football player, maybe smaller professional ranks. I can't remember. He did the beginner's class, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is maybe like a 13-week class or something like that. And he just started training with Rip. I believe he had one match, and he was the camera guy. So at OVW, when you're first starting out, when you're a greenhorn, you do everything. You run the hard cam, you run the floor cam, you referee. So I just remember it being comical that we literally had a giant, a 7 foot tall cameraman. And he was signed within the first 6 months of being at OVW under one match. He looked good. He was a good athlete, football player. He got bumped up there. And I was always friendly with him. He seemed like a cool dude. When I did some shots for NXT, I talked to him. I ran into him at the gym before. He seems to be a pretty good dude. But they've tried with him a few times. Like they gave him a little bit on TV, and then we don't see him. Then I'll look online and see they're trying a new gimmick, but it doesn't really go past the house shows. So it's just weird, man, how you see they bring these guys up, and I don't know if they know what to do with them or if they're just hoping for a diamond in the rough. But I mean, that guy's 7 foot tall. And
dude, how about, you could say the same thing, even though he didn't really switch gimmicks. He was over as hell, man. When I first got there, especially, it was a big love angle between Beth Phoenix and Jacob Duncan.
I was thinking about him the other day, actually, when I was talking to him.
How did that guy not get put into the Kane Undertaker mix at that time, bro? They could have really used him at that time, and he was more than a competent worker on my internet.
It might have been his gear. I hated his choice of gear. He kind of dressed like a mobile homer, which worked for them because they were the barbecue loving rednecks. But did he ever have any other gear? Like I only
not really. He was just like out of the woods, the man from the woods. That's what he was. Yeah. Like he was supposed to be like a deranged lumberjack murderer, and he had this like mankind mask, but he was fucking 6'11". Right. 7 foot, and he could work, and he wasn't stretched out into a way that he was awkward looking or anything like that. And he could work his character super scary, Jason Friday the 13th, or lighter Kentucky style into a love angle between Beth Phoenix and Jacob Duncan, which Al loved.
Did he get let go before they moved to FCW? Or
I think so. I think he did get let go right before that. A lot of people were asking me about the FCW thing, like, did you feel sorry for your buddies at FCW? I'm like, felt sorry for him. I felt sorry to see him go. I was like, but that was our time to step up and become leaders and take over and shine. But guys like Gavin Garrison, the professor who came in and trained day one on his own dime, what do they call him? Fletcher
Thomas or something.
Whatever his gay porn name was down there.
something dumb.
Another guy who could probably outperform almost everybody in a promo, and no one ever saw him do the light of day on WWE TV ever, man. Like, did a great work for us, right? So I was happy to see him and APOC and Serena and those guys, get to go live their dreams. But, at the same time, it gave us the opportunity to step up and be the next crew to go. So.
Oh, yeah.
Since we're talking about WWE still, I was thinking about it last night. WWE has the technology now. I know they've tried this before. Is this the case maybe with WrestleMania? They should try to introduce the augmented reality, giving the fan the appearance that they're in the crowd watching the show.
How would you do that?
Well, you'd set up a camera or a couple different cameras around the ring, quote unquote, in a seat. And then you get
like a POV.
viewers, like a POV, but you give people the access to use their 3D or augmented reality like they're sitting there watching it live.
So kind of sexy wrestle vision.
Yeah, that could, there's not enough time to pull it off.
No, yeah.
That's the problem. I love the idea. I love the concept of an enhanced viewing thing that you could partner with Sony and PlayStation and all that shit. But as of a week from the next Saturday, I don't think we're gonna get that pulled off, pal.
Do you guys remember the TV specials they would do back in the 90s? I think you would get like these 3D glasses or something from 7-Eleven and like this little scratch and sniff card, and you would watch the special program, and the 3D glasses would half-ass work, and then like it would be like smell,
Television,
right now. I remember Revenge of the Nerds like that, and I love Revenge of the Nerds. It was some kind of special, and Booger had one, and when you scratched it, it smelled like a booger.
Yeah, it supposed to smell like farter feet. Yeah.
Maybe they could do that.
Something along those lines, man.
Smell Braun Strowman.
Yeah, or the ham that Otis has. He carries around, and you smell the ham, and then...
I don't know if that would work. Half the wrestling audience probably already smells like patchouli anyway.
Smell Mandy Rose's cleavage. It'd be good. Good scratch and sniff stuff.
Matty, you're good behind the scenes. Do you think you could set something like that up for this program or for Hamin?
Yeah, can we get that done?
Can we get you on some smell-o-vision
and augmented reality, all that.
And augmented reality.
We want all that.
So there is some wrestling continuing though for another brand as well. I know me and you reviewed the Impact show yesterday, but there was some news that came out in the last 24 hours. Access TV Total Nonstop Action is going to continue. They actually have already taped the Impact special, Total Nonstop Action special from Impact, and will debut next week with guys like Scott Steiner, Hernandez, Kid Cash, Chase Stevens, and more. So as you mentioned yesterday, it sounds like they do have 4 to 5 weeks still in the can. Silvio, are you watching Impact at all during this? Since there's been a lack of wrestling, maybe, or anything like that.
Occasionally, when I tune in, I do like what I see for the most part. It's got its own unique flair. They got a pretty good roster right now. I kind of had as a viewer, I had a tumultuous relationship with Impact, so sometimes it's hard to give them my full. But no, right now I think they're doing very well and they got a good roster. So.
You had a tumultuous relationship as a viewer or as a worker there?
No, to be honest, as a worker, I was treated very well there. I only had one incident that I wasn't too happy about, but it's water under the bridge at this point. But yeah, man, they treated me well. They paid well. They took care of you.
Yeah, I loved working with Josh Matthews. It was easy relationship, good communication, and I was getting graphics from somebody they were working with in the UK, and then to support the show, it's just when I was coming through in regime change and what they owed me and what they owed me for 3 months, they paid me for 1 week. And then it was like, okay, we'll string this along. But in the end, they owed me for like 6 months, you know what I mean? And had to, get all that off of them. Well, was it? Oh, it was about for 3 months. I don't want to make that bullshit up. Yeah. But in the end, it all worked out. But that's just how some things go, especially when you're holding things together with dreams and bubblegum.
Yeah. I guess I could say it because it's an old regime and we're on our own fucking show, so we say what we want, right?
Yeah.
I taped several matches for them in Orlando at Universal, and I notified the next tapings were scheduled, like, let's say 2 months later. I can't remember what it was, but let's say this is 2 months after the last taping I did. And I let them know I have a tour of England coming up here. And they said, like, oh, yeah, no problem. When you get back, let us know. So I said, okay, cool. Then about a week and a half before that taping, I was in England on my tour. I think I was doing a tour with All Star Wrestling. And I get an email like, hey, can you make TV next week or something like that? We want you to do such and such. And I was like, man, I'd love to. As I told you before, I have this tour coming up. I'm over here doing this. But I'd be happy to, come back on after. And just the funny world of wrestling, they didn't like something about that. And somehow it got me heat, I guess you could say. And that kind of ended my relationship with them. It wasn't a knockdown, drag out or anything. Just for some reason, they didn't like the fact that I was on a tour that they were cool with. I don't know. I don't get it. But.
Yeah. So, like I say, old regimes, nothing to do with now anyway.
Yeah. So, moving forward now.
Welcome to wrestling, boys.
Right. See what you got in store for you, Matt?
Yeah, I know, right?
You get heat for doing the right thing and the wrong
thing. Be damned if you do if you don't.
Exactly. I know that. So if you've, let's talk about a guy who is unfortunately not getting a lot of heat anymore because he's been pretty much blackballed from the industry. Chris Benoit, the Chris Benoit documentary dropped over the last week, officially dropped last night, the full 2 hours. I'm sorry, Tuesday night, the 24th. And it was captivating, to say the least. The first hour, we got a real breakdown as far as the relationship that formed between Nancy and Chris. Mr. Kevin Sullivan was not made to look in a positive light, for sure. And then the second hour was the examination of the murder, the fallout, and how we really got to see his son, David, who's just been a victim in all of this pretty much. I can't imagine what it would be to be a child like him growing up where your dad is this, unfortunately this murderer and everybody knows who you are. So it's really hard to get away from it. Very captivating, emotional, tear jerker. If you're a wrestling fan, this definitely hits hard. If you work in the industry, in any facet, it hits hard. Mr. Silvio, we could start with you. What did you think of this documentary? I don't necessarily need you to, of course, go through the whole Chris Benoit stuff. What did you think of the documentary itself?
It was an emotional piece. I really like the Dark Side of the Ring series. I've seen them all. This one, it was a tearjerker, man. There are not very many things on TV or wrestling that can bring a tear to my eye. Like, I think the last thing to do it was the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair match. But when Chavo was talking about Eddie, and then when you saw Benoit on the tribute to Eddie, it was just so gut-wrenching. It's an interesting story, man, and I'm kind of on the fence that a lot of the guys are on it. I grew up idolizing Chris Benoit. The first time I saw him, I went to the amusement park, and I got an airbrushed hat that said the Canadian Crippler or something like that. Like, I fucking loved him. He was one
Where is that? Do you still have that hat?
No, it kicked the bucket. Fuck. It was one of those bucket hats that were famous in the 90s. Yeah, it was awful.
A little strap on and everything.
I wish you would have worn the Six Flags when he was there.
I wish I did. But yeah, man, fucking Benoit was my dude. I loved him. He was one of my inspirations. He was a smaller guy. And I hate what he did and hate how things ended for his career. But I'm kind of in that same boat where, like, I feel very, very weird about him. Like, I can't completely disregard him, but it's hard to praise him. So I understand why the guys that spoke on the show had the emotion that they did.
Before you get into it, I thought was interesting about this documentary was that I wouldn't say they tried to humanize Chris, but they definitely tried to at least highlight his career and maybe provide some form of explanation, that being a lot of the CTE as a reason why, he kind of went AWOL. What did you think of the documentary? If you've seen it, if not, I know you're very
I've seen it.
up to speed. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Boys, I got to go answer my door real quick. Take it away. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, man. Yeah, man. Very, very well done. Very dark piece. Personal side note, Tyson Dukes was playing Chris Benoit in a lot of the remake stuff. So I was happy for Dukes, who I think is also, I don't know if he's a product of Benoit or not, but he wrestles, looks just like him, Canadian. You know what I mean? Like Tyson Dukes is a grinder, and just like Benoit, they work same style. And so I was glad that he got to be a part of that. I'd cut a whole promo on Dave and why, not on him, but why I don't think he should be in the wrestling business. And he was away from this. He was up in Canada doing oil drilling and making a lot of money. And now he's dragged back into this carny world. And I don't see any good ending for that. Like, it's always going to be a cloud over his head. It's never going to be resolved where his dad pats him on the head and says, "I'm proud of you for it." You're never going to be able to resurrect that, like what happened, and make it right. So that's going to leave that dude confused for the rest of his life. And I'd rather see him try and get more of a peace of mind. And it puts Jericho and Chavo over as his uncles very much and humanizes that they're all together. But if they really cared about him, they should be keeping him out of the business, dude. But instead, I see indie promoters are going to flock to book him and Brian Pillman Jr. together. And yeah, it might draw and do tickets, and yeah, they might have a little fun, but it's going to fuck that dude up worse in the long run getting into wrestling. I don't think it's a smart thing for him to do. There's the conspiracy horseman side. Yeah, this piece is good and it wraps it all up in a nice little bow. Now go watch Hornswoggle's shoot on YouTube on it and some others. And there's questions that don't line up with what we were told originally when the story changed and then what's being reported now. Where Nancy's body has changed 2 and 3 times in different versions from where it was first reported and how it was.
Different versions of what? The media or people talking?
The media and fucking one first person 1 degree of separation.
Gotcha.
So the text with the dogs, they gloss over in one spot where they say Chris was paranoid, taking different route to someplace, right? That's in part 1. There was multiple times, and there was calls that were unanswered right before something went down, knocks at the door. None of that was covered in here. That Chris was kind of paranoid from some possible, I don't say mobsters or whoever that he might have been indebted to. I mean, you're dealing in illegal steroids constantly. You're dealing in circles that can get it. You know what I mean? And who knows where else that leads to. So the paranoia thing, yeah, it could have been brought on by CTE, but it wasn't really addressed that there's another part because they want to wrap it all up,
What evidence do we have of knock on the door and stuff like that? Like,
I'm just going off of like what Hornswoggle had reported, stuff. Even I think Chavo had said in other interviews. Like I'd have to go back and listen to the 2 Horsemen episodes we did on it, where we really tried to cover everything in the timeline. And if you guys want to listen and go back, you can go back on Hacker Hamin and check those out. I'm sure you can just search Chris Benoit. There was 2 different episodes we did with celebrity deaths. But it's just escaping my mind now in that timeline. But those were things that are left out and is a dude in the locker room and the Hornswoggle shoot where he's got questions. When those things aren't answered in a way that makes me go, okay, Vice wants to tell their story and they're going to make it look a certain way for the masses, but the locker room still got some questions on some things, and it was weird because I was a, huge ECW. I would follow his whole career, Benoit as well. And then that Six Flags show came and my only interaction with him, I was just trying to keep my head down, stay small because we weren't that over yet. Right. And he walked right up to me. I had the Jesse Ventura for Governor shirt on. And he's like, oh, dude, Jesse's my man, bro. I love him. He's like, that's a great shirt. And I was like, thank you very much, sir. So appreciative of you to be here. Like, he came cutting across to me. I was like, holy fuck, I'm about to get, Wolverine right here or something. Like, maybe I did something wrong, but no. I mean, he was very cool.
Why is he coming to me?
Yeah, but he was.
Why is he coming over here?
Yeah, for a guy who's like walking around like stone faced, like for him to switch, my interaction with him was shockingly like friendly out of nowhere. And then 6 weeks later, this all goes down. The part I wanted to get to and jump up to speed, and we'll close this out after this and get to AEW, is they did cover how it rocked wrestling. And if you weren't in the business, you won't ever know. Jericho really kind of puts it in there with the drug testing, because you were there when Ace came right after that. So, and he's like,
changed the business forever.
Everything, bro. And Kentucky is already a ball buster with their registry association, when you got licensing and shit like that. The commission, yeah. So this just like gave them excuse to run fucking hog wild on people. And it was, I remember Ace, we're not taking anybody who looks like they're on the shit, anybody we even think is on anything, and they ran down the whole list. And then they came back for the next tryout and signed Ryback and Abraham Washington. It was definitely on the shit. And fucking, so just like the double standard of the joke of the policy continued, but they could zap people how they fucking wanted to with it, man. And it was dark and scary days for all wrestlers at that time, dude. It really did rock the whole fucking biz for like 2-3 years. I was kind of glad to be out of OVW and into 2CW, where they weren't looking over your shoulder and that pressure wasn't there all the time.
It changed the business, and honestly, it still to this day affects the business. I'm recording some audio for a little project I'm working on, and I'm going to talk about that and talk about my experience being around the WWE system when that happened. But I have my crew in Italy, right? Well, Italy in that era of wrestling was huge. Like, if you ask any Italian, their favorite wrestlers are Eddie Guerrero or Rob Van Dam. That era, it was huge. They were doing gangbuster business, and it was one of the highest rated TV shows in the country. After this happened with Benoit, they pulled it off, and wrestling is, that's why now I'm restarting a promotion. Like, nobody knows about wrestling now. Like, that Benoit incident cut off wrestling in Italy completely. It just lost its footing and hasn't regrown since.
Crazy, man.
Certainly a crazy time, even for fans. I remember being 16, and I was just like doing this, just like now. I was doing a podcast actually back on Ustreams, and this was like on a one of my buddies' fan-made websites, and we were live when the information came in. And at that point in time, we had like 500 or 600 people who were like watching the stream, if you will, every night. So the chat room exploded, the response exploded online on chat boards. It was a crazy time just to even be a fan. Because then you now have to explain even to other maybe non-wrestling fans or people who know you're a wrestling fan. Hey, you watch wrestling? Can you tell me about that guy who murdered people? Why do you watch this shit?
Shut up! I want to punch you right now.
Right.
But without this tragedy, there may have never been no Hog Wild, Silvio, because that's how he got his name.
No.
Oh, you don't know the origins of the Hog Wild story?
I thought it was having to do with the pay-per-view.
It was, because it was on the Chris Benoit tribute show the next night, and they're all serious, and Lawler looks in the camera, he goes, yeah, and now we take you back to Hog Wild. and that's where Hog Wild was actually, like, we all popped. I popped big on that for some reason and just called him Hog Wild after that, dude. Hog Wild, because he was just Chris Child. So I think I called him Hog Wild Chris Child after that.
So, of course, before we get into the AEW, just a couple things you mentioned there. Conspiracy Horseman celebrity murder porn, or celebrity murder conspiracy, is from August 3rd, 2017. So you want to go back and listen to that episode where they go through the timeline. You can go through the 2-hour episode of the Conspiracy Horseman.
Were you about to say celebrity porn?
I was. I'm sorry.
See what's on your mind.
A couple weeks, still on my mind. AEW itself tonight emanated, of course, from their location in Jacksonville.
Daly's Place or Daly's Place.
Daly's Place. Okay. Of course, Daly's Place, it looks good as far as I like the visualization they're doing with the darkness, the blackout lights, opposed to WWE keeping everything lit.
Mm-hmm.
But last week they had 932,000 viewers, which was pretty close to what Ben Hamin called it, right on the nail about them having 900,000. And NXT drew 542,000. Tonight's key competition, other than the Masked Singer and the coronavirus coverage, is really nothing because there's nothing else on right now. Their YouTube viewership, though, jumped up immensely. Went from 2.2 million viewers to 3.3 last week. The most viewed segment was the end of the show with Matt Hardy that garnered 2.2 million views. And then the lowest one was the Lucha Bros accepting the Best Friends Challenge. Tonight's show started off with Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega. They're out ringside, or it looks like the desk was set up behind the ramp, or the tunnel. And they're talking about how they're going to be on commentary tonight for the show. Cody, though, is going to start it off with Jimmy Havok, somebody we have talked about a little bit, but they haven't really showcased him too much of late. But they kind of go back and forth. They have I'd say a pretty decent match.
Mm-hmm.
A little different to see Jimmy Havok in a non-type of hardcore match. So it was nice to see that he can wrestle. He's got some mat-based wrestling technical skills. They brawled onto the stage. Havok grabbed a headset and kind of trash talked. I don't know what he said there. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just don't know what he said. Back in the ring, though, Cody caught Havok with an uppercut of his own. Havok managed to hit Cody with a Japanese arm drag, sending Cody into the turnbuckle twice. Toward the end of the match, though, Cody rolled over and got his foot up on the bottom rope to break up a hold. Went for his cross holds. Havok blocked it. End of the match, though, we see Cody crotch Havok on the top rope, and then Havok mounted him. Cody climbed up with Havok, hit the reverse suplex, followed by a pair of crossroads to pick up the victory. Kenny Omega was pretty good, I thought, on the commentary. Wasn't as good as Cody Rhodes. I thought Cody was phenomenal on all the matches he called tonight. But I thought Kenny was decent. I thought this was a good opening match, and it was nice to see Jimmy Havok. Different flavor, different style. What did you think, Mr. Silvio?
Yeah, I thought Kenny was pretty good on commentary. Cody did very well. Going into this match, when I heard about it a few days ago, I was kind of wondering how it would turn out because it seemed to be a fantastic styles clash with Havok being a hardcore wrestler and then Cody. But then when I saw Havok actually wrestle on the front end of that match, he did well. And it kind of got me thinking, Havok's a UK wrestler, which is a very, very technical style. So I guarantee you when he was trained, he was not trained in weaponry and hardcore. He was trained in the fundamentals. So I guess
he can't get trained in weaponry.
You can somewhere, but
right.
I guess he still remembered his training, and and they turned it into a pretty good match. They did a little brawling. There was a really clever spot in there that I liked. Earlier, Cody hit that snapback cutter that he calls the Cody cutter, I think. And then they did a really pretty transition where Havok caught it into an armbar. That's where they really worked that near fall for Cody to get to the ropes. I thought that was cool. Havok took it when he suplexed Cody. I think it was a Japanese arm drag and then maybe like a snap suplex kind of thing into the turnbuckle. That looked like fucking death and a rough bump from Cody. So I'm glad he was okay. But I thought Havok made him look like $1 million on that finish. When he hit him with the crossroad, Havok took this spike bump that looked like $1 million. So they got in there. Cody got it done, man. He took a completely different style, and they went out. They got a limited crew right now, but they went out and made it happen. So I thought it was a very, very solid effort for the opening match.
Yeah, I like that spot. Yeah, you stole my thunder too. I like that little snapback.
Good, right?
Yeah. Because there's some other shit I was stealing this week too. If I ever get to wrestle again, if we do. The only thing I didn't care for, I thought Omega killed it on commentary too, but I didn't want Cody to be out there and then he just like goes from commentary like it's my time to go wrestle now, dude. If you're in the zone to go around, it takes a little bit before. You don't want to be fucked around with 10 minutes before your match. You're definitely not going to be baby facing people and then be like, oh, I got to go wrestle now. Okay. Right. Cabana might be able to pull that off. Maybe. But there was no need for Cody to, it wasn't until after the match was over. I'm like, Cody didn't need to be out there in the beginning to like go from commentary to there. He could have gone from after the match over, which he did, which right. I kind of really liked him there. Post-match in the moment, more real. The beginning stuff seemed like a setup to a show, right? They could have done that without him. I think it would have meant more him coming out as a competitor right there in the beginning. match I like, and I popped because I know I was like, guys get over with this death match viral shit, but guys like him or what's his name, the other guy they got from CZW,
Talking about Joey.
yeah, Joey Janela, who are known for this crazy shit, but then when they got to wrestle, you watch them like, damn, they're fundamentally sound. They can go, but even though he looks like a Chucky doll in the light or whatever, like this crazy butcher thing, and then he's throwing arm bars and shit on. So maybe his heat was vicious enough with eye rakes and shit like that. My issue with this match, though, is the finish. Cody's got him up there, crotches him, okay. Hits him with the reverse gimmick off the top rope, which I don't know. Let me ask you this before I go into the finish. When you see him, Matt, when you see like Havok put his foot up on the post to get set to like go back and take it, do you as a fan or even as a pundit, do you see that? Or is that just us as wrestlers when I see a guy get set to take a spot like that?
Oh, we see it all the time. I mean, it's one of my biggest complaints. I think I've heard Jericho talk about it before. You've even talked about it before. It's just about knowing where you're at and then knowing exactly when to turn around or be right there. So that way it syncs up. Right?
And you just got nutted on the thing and he's hooking you up for the spot. I feel like Cody should be able to muscle up, or Havok should be able to launch himself when they creep up there and get their toe on the post and get their foot on the top rope to make it safe. I'm not saying don't make it safe, but like it just comes off like, okay, now we're doing a stunt show. And then Cody hits him with that, picks him up, drills him with the crossroad, kills him with it. Should have been 1, 2, 3 right there. Instead, Cody picks him up again, hits him on the other side with it. Well, he didn't kick out, so you had to finish him again. You guys don't have any really big heat for you to be like, fuck you, I'm hitting you twice. And you just killed him with that thing before that. I think you had him with just the first one. There was no need. This was a get-over match for Cody on a dark dude to do a babyface win to kick the show off. And they overbooked it for some reason. And to overbook it made it look like he had heat with him. And Cody's a big babyface. Am I wrong in that, Sil?
I think what they're trying to get across, I didn't get that vibe. Not that you're wrong, because we all perceive the shit different. I think they were trying to get across that intensity, kind of like he showed with MJF when he would hit it multiple times. I think they're trying to kind of build the intensity towards whenever they do this blood and guts match, and maybe even keep Cody a little bit stronger because he's about to wrestle a big motherfucker in Vance Archer. Which is
I'll tell you right now, you hit me with the reverse sliced bread and then hit me with a crossroads. That's all you got to do to beat me. I'm not that good. You don't got to get up and fucking hit me with a third one. Okay? I'll lay down for the first one.
Let's talk about the real issue here. Okay, Ben's upset that Havok came out with that mask, and Ben's like, fuck, I'm printing those things. I'm going to sell those things.
Yeah.
No, interesting note on this one too, boys. Arn Anderson had the night off. JR had the night off again. So yeah. I think that's a very smart move on their end. God bless Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, oh yeah. And Arn's hot because Waffle House is closed. They close all the Waffle Houses.
Him and Rick Vickery.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedge Rat in the chat room says that this morning Ryan Seacrest was interviewing Kevin Bacon in his pajamas. So they're how professional. Right?
You ever listen to the Bacon Brothers, Sil?
I have.
Yeah, I like some of their stuff, man. Adirondack Blue is a good song, and Chop Wood, Carry Water. That's another good song by Bacon Brothers. Tough to find them both.
Yeah,
but
they're not bad.
No.
So after this match, we get a VTR. Jake Roberts appears on the giant screen, says that Lance Archer is chomping at the bit to get into the ring. He talks about the formation of AEW and says that they claimed that they were going to give the people what they wanted. But his phone never rang, despite him having the best mind in the business. He says that Lance Archer was in Japan with all of his elite members, and they saw what he was doing there. So maybe they were just afraid of him. He challenges Cody to bring anyone he wants to a meeting and signing something that say Cody will go one-on-one with Archer. He says that all he needs is just one match. This was great utilization of Jake the Snake Roberts. Fantastic.
I love the little parties. Bring whoever you want. Caesar, bring whatever. If you're Bill, bring Monica. Yeah, bring Cleopatra. Mark, whatever. But we're gonna get this done. Like, dude, that shit takes me back to like. I'm 8-10 years old, man. Like Andre Andre Jake was one of my favorite things ever when I was a kid. When Andre bugged and did the facial on the get out of the ring, and he had the big, shirt and pants on and not the singlet and shit, dude. I loved that shit. That made me fall in love with wrestling. And this Jake Roberts getting utilized in any way where he's back to that cold, callous look through the camera and come right through your soul. I'm all about that shit, dude. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, he definitely he brings that old school like cowboy feel to the program, right? You feel like you're talking to an old school cowboy, villain.
Yeah, what's the dude
Sam
with the white mustache gimmick from Roadhouse?
Oh,
Roadhouse and all that shit.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Silvio. I thought it was great, man. I literally was just watching with wide the second he got on till the second his segment ended. And like Hamin said, it was literally like watching Jake in the 80s or 90s. He still got it. I thought they did a phenomenal job of how they lit that quite literally with the fire and him in the chair. I like the way the direction they're going with that character. And I also like that Jake had the foresight he fucking gets this business probably maybe better than anyone, but I like how he had the foresight to mention why he was there and why Archer was there. Because it wasn't just like, oh, we signed Jake now. He told you why he's there, and he told you why Archer's there and what they're going to do, which is the essence of a great promo. It covers who, what, when, where, why. And it was phenomenal. Jake's the man.
Things like that almost upset me because they're so good and above everything else in wrestling. I want to pluck, like, I think about it, my mind wanders when I see that. I'm like, fuck, I'd love to see him play King Lear and like some really like to direct it or put him in like Glenn Ross as Ricky Roma. You know what I mean? As something along those lines and like really get what does Jake Roberts look like in the Ricky Roma spot while he's trying to coax the guy into like investing, dude. Just like I want to see him at a high level, Dave Mamet play or something, be really being directed. But then I think to myself, how hard would it be to get Jake Roberts to show up to rehearsals for 4 weeks and doing the same spot over and over, getting blocking down and shit while he wants to go outside and smoke cigarettes or whatever. So like, that's all a pipe dream. But those type of performances are bigger than wrestling, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think this promo I was going to say hits even really well with the smart marks, as they are aware that Jake was staying at DDP's Yoga's place and, directly linked to AEW. So why didn't you call me, brother? I'm right here, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
they'll use DDP in the right way. They've got a plan for it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, after that, we went to a commercial break. We come back. We've got our next matchup here. It's Darby Allen taking on the super bad Kip Sabian. Before the match started, we had a really interesting video package done by Darby Allen. He's out in the woods. He's got all the members of the inner circles, I guess their face printed out with their eyes cut out as he's wearing the mask, sets up like a dinner table and basically says that tonight's victory over Kip Sabian will be a sacrifice, to the inner circle. Little darkness there for you.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're talking about masks. You're talking, even though it didn't play that way, here's Illuminati stuff in there with Rothschild parties and masks and that kind of stuff, setting the table, spirit cooking, all that kind of shit. I like that he's playing along those lines without really going into it because his and Cody did a good job on commentary putting over his fan base as being these young, kids who are really into him, the skateboard crew, the clique like that. So if they know that's where their money is, well, boom, go that way a little bit more. I don't know if Super Dark is going to resonate with them as much, even though he can do it. But I thought Cody really shined him on commentary a lot. He said that he reminded him of a young Sting, right? And a lot of people online got hot about that. And then Cody dips right into when he was a little kid, when Dusty was taking him and all the little Stingers had their face painted. He said he's seeing that in the crowd. I thought that was spot on, dude. Like, how are you going to argue with that? And now that elevates Darby into people are like, dude, he's the next Sting. When people say you're the next this, it can damn you, but I don't think Darby's in spot to F that up. If anything, he really could shine with that. What do you think, Sil?
No, not at all. He's not in the spot to F that up. Like, this stuff kind of started back when remember the guys at Crockett would dress like the Horsemen in the crowd, and you'd see them with the suits and the four. Then people started wearing the stinger paint. On WWF at the time, you had the Hulk Hogan lookalikes, the guys that would show up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I watch AEW, there are only two people that you see the fans cosplaying as: Darby Allen and Orange Cassidy, two completely different characters, different reasons. But it's clear anybody that says that those two are not working, especially Darby, because he's so fucking good in the ring. Nothing against Cassidy, he's fucking good too. But I think Darby's on another level. So anybody that says anything against Darby Allen, in my opinion, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because he's getting there, man.
Isn't this a huge opportunity to bring Stinger in to do something with him? You know,
he's healthy enough, or even a Jake kind of role.
Yeah, a Jake kind of role, something along those lines where Darby is backed into a corner and he just needs somebody to watch his back. That's all. Then Stinger needs to be out there, whack three motherfuckers with a baseball bat, cough and drop. We're the fuck out of here, brother. That's it, right? That's it. And big shine, baby's up at the end. That's all. That's all anybody's gonna remember is Darby and Stinger paints his face like Darby Allen, not the other way around, right? Like, that'd be fucking dope. Whatever Darby's got on one side, Sting's got on the other.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, Darby is phenomenal athlete, phenomenal athleticism. Guy has some speed. When he's running those ropes, it almost looks like he's gliding at times, just how fast he's moving in the ring. It's really cool to watch as far as a visual.
Silvio's the same way. He runs the ropes the same way.
Yeah, it's good. It's sexy. I like it.
I don't do that.
You don't run.
I was gonna say,
I don't need to run. I'll walk over and get you.
Stick a flag up your ass and then put you in the clutch. So Allen gets a quick near fall to start things off. They lock back and forth up. He ducked underneath and rolled out for a quick near fall. Sabian kicked Allen in the gut, put him in a headlock. Later on, Sabian rolled to the floor, but Allen followed out, threw himself at Sabian, only for Sabian to move out of the way, causing Allen to crash into the guardrail. Cody Rhodes, Cody, not I want to say Rhodes, but Cody at the time, I like the fact that he put over the guardrails. He's like, oh, those are bike racks? And he's like, and who do you think picked out that cover? It was me. He's like, we don't have traditional walls here. So those guys that, those bike racks have give, if you will.
And he made the comment about them not being padded.
There was a lot of wax at WWE in this show.
Oh, yeah. There definitely was, especially when we get to Brodie Lee.
And he's coming right off of Conan keeping it 100, where there's clips in there too. So he's trying to keep the heat on, even in a time of whatever's going on here. And so is Tony Khan. Tony Khan, do you guys see the shot when they did Raw and they changed the hard cam to just how AEW does it? He gave him the wonder where they got that fucking idea from. So they're still getting their 1-2 punches in where they need to on Vince, dude. Absolutely. Especially if Vince is soft right now. They're going to need to kick him while he's down.
So toward the end of the match, we see Saban running all into the turnbuckle, trips him up. Allen wraps him with a ring around the ring post, goes for springboard enziguri, but Allen moves out and goes for a top rope suicida, but Penelope Ford kind of shoved him out of the way, and then so he fell out. And then back in the ring, Allen went back for a springboard move, but Ford again held his feet. Saban hit a springboard enziguri and then a hangman suplex off the ropes for near fall, followed up by Saban hitting a pop-up knee strike followed by a spinning clothesline. But Allen surprised Saban with the Last Supper, which is a leg lock into a bridging pin. For those who don't know what that move is, and then he got the victory. So interesting finish. I never seen that hold, or hadn't seen that hold done in many years, as Cody liked to reference the different names it had. What did you think of the conclusion of this match, Mr. Silvio?
I thought it was good. Those two are a great matchup. They're evenly sized, evenly matched. They work a similar style. I really enjoyed the few minutes that we got to see them. And really all I could think to myself is, fuck, I would like to see these guys against each other on a big show with a hot crowd. What I would do with them is I would put them in a program, in a series of matches. I don't know if it's a best of 5, best of 7, best of 3, whatever, but I'd put them in a series of reoccurring matches where they can each do their thing. And I would use that as a platform to get Sabian over as a top talent, but have Darby go over in the end to keep him going forward. So yeah, I really like those two working together. And I was just imagining like what could be once we get through all this shit. So I thought it was really good. They worked well together. I thought Sabian stepped up. And to Darby's credit, Darby's act feeds off of the emotion of the audience a lot, especially in AEW where they're super into him. But you couldn't tell, like there wasn't anybody there, but you couldn't tell Darby still reacted the exact same way, had the same fire and intensity at the moments that he normally would. So I think Darby's kind of smart to the business at a young age. So I hear music in my head when I wrestle. And I think Darby has the same thing where in his head, he hears the timing of when the crowd's going to do it and just instinctively knows how to react. So I thought that was really cool. And we haven't noted this, but they didn't have the crew around the ring this time. I had the opportunity to speak with some people up there this week and offer a little assistance, trying to do my part to be a good brother for the wrestling community. And they're keeping it very, very safe. So I think the reason why we didn't see the guys out is they're really taking wrestlers and crew's safety, in the highest regard. So that's why.
Yeah, if you're already under the microscope, why give somebody an in to shut you down? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's why we saw them instead using the backstage segments with the noise of like the heels in the locker room betting on the matches.
Guys they did elbow bumps on commentary.
And notice they were all far apart on these scenes. So, they're really trying to make effort to do that. Kenny Omega, we didn't mention this in the first match, had a pretty good social distancing joke as well.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ben, before you give your thoughts, did you think that they missed an opportunity by not, I guess maybe continuing more of the Colt Cabana stuff? Because they showed that package last week of him like slapping Kip Sabian, but he didn't come out and he really wasn't involved in this in any way. Of course, that could have been just due to the health situation. He can't be there.
I think that's what it is, dude. It's like there's some things that we can do and we got to do, and there's some things that are going to scrap, and we can always come back to that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was the kickoff for that. So you can always blame it on social distancing. And then once they're back together again, out of nowhere, really, I'd like to forget about that. I'd like to forget about that for 2-3 months. And then when Kip Sabian is at a low point or something and we're into his character, he turns around and fucking Cabana clocks him, as a receipt. Those are the little, in a pattern of things that can come around and for fans to invest their time. And you think that that's going to be a dropped thing. And when it comes back, oh, beautiful, dude. There's no better feeling than that as a watcher and viewer to be like, yeah, I'm satisfied and I didn't even know that I was going to be and didn't know it was coming. Those are great moments. And I think Colt definitely knows that he can inject those when he needs to that way. I like the finish here. Like this whole match, like you said, he does feed off the crowd a lot. But instead he just went into his primal rage, kind of like, I know I got to hulk up here. Let me just do something character-wise to show more energy before I do something, self-destructive into the corner on this guy. So he is getting the character moments while in ring to cover what he needs to very well. And then he puts him in the Gibson lock at the end. And I was pumped. I hadn't seen that since OVW. I think they actually tried to give that to Jake Hager. I remember him on house shows using it, and it just wasn't working for him. The way his legs are too long or something on some guys. Some guys didn't want to sell for it. And but I liked it here. And I'm wondering, still, do you think you could do that safely as you step in, hook on the side of the hip, put the leg through, lace one? Could you do a leg pump with that? Like you go back and let go. Safe enough? You think it's all right with a guy's leg bent straight like that or no?
If you kept it loose enough and either limber enough to make it not hurt them too bad or tall enough to put them at very little risk. Yeah,
I think tall enough is the key for me. It'd have to be somebody probably close to the same size.
I couldn't do it, I don't think.
I don't think so either. But I was looking at it, I was like, I like that, but now you can't do it because it's going to be his secondary after the coffin drop of a submission finish. But you could throw it on and do it in a match. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Well, speaking of Jake Hager, it took them 6 months, but they finally gave us a good Jake Hager video package highlighting how dominant he is via Bellator. He comes out versus Chico Adams, and it's a squash match. He dominates him. So it's under 3-4 minute match, like how he should, as this MMA fighter needs to be protected and look strong, and he wins. Dominates the match.
Is Chico Adams a real wrestler, like full time? That's his name.
I was going to ask Silvio.
So actually, I know Chico Adams very well, and he's a really fucking tenacious indie guy. He's the kind of guy that shows up in a suit and will drive anywhere and everywhere. Will thank you for the opportunity. Good. He showed up to my camps, my tryouts. He earned a spot on some of my shows from one of my camps, and I gave him this gimmick as a heel to play Officer Chico Adams. I run a rated R show, and he's one of the heat-seeking authority figures. So basically, like when the crowd's drinking too much or swearing too much, Officer Chico Adams comes out in the hat, and I instructed him to use a voice alarm on the microphone instead of like a siren. So he just comes out going, whoop, 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 whoop. And then he'll correct whatever behavior. Yeah. I put him on for the first time last year, and he fucking did great. He had a ton of heat. So it's cool for him to get an opportunity there, along with some of my crew that you may or may not see here in the coming episodes of TV. You didn't get to see much from him in the ring, but
he did exactly what he needed to. This is a get over squash after a promo package from your killer, who you're putting into a major promo. The business is Moxley running in at the end, and him chicken shit powder. And even though he's a big motherfucker who's a destroyer, leaves us wanting more. I thought this segment was exactly what it should have been. Chico Adams did exactly what he was supposed to do there to serve the storyline. I was wondering if that was his real name or if that was a rib on Chico Alvarez or Damian Adams. Like if they're doing it, because on Raw they had Aleister Black squash out Leon Ruff instead of Leo Rush. It was another kid, black kid, same size. And I was just wondering if there was something in response to that because I didn't know Chico Adams or not. So I was wondering if that was an inside stab on the name as well, because they had been doing it already. So
for Chico, no, he works the scene as Chico. He was trained by the Samoans, and I think he worked with Larry Zbyszko also. Leon Ruff is actually a very talented cruiserweight who works regularly now for Evolve as Leon Ruff. He's been to the camp when
really, that's not a rib either then, huh?
When Seidel and I
ran. All right. Yeah. I thought they were just, doesn't that seem like something they would do to put it in Leo Rush's ass right there? They'd book a guy who looks just like him and call him Leon Ruff.
He's Leon Ruff. He came and trained with Seidel and myself.
Well, no disrespect to either of those guys then. I was just curious. I thought this was production getting the fucking old school fuck you in.
So after that match, Moxley, he hits the ring. He hits Hager with the paradigm shift. Cody and Tony put it over the fact that Hager got right back up. So he's been one of the only people that's been able to recover from, I guess, in an instant, if you will, from the paradigm shift. Tries to lock in the Patriot lock or ankle lock or whatever we're calling it now. But Moxley rolls through, sending Hager to the floor. And, there's some, because of the lack of the crowd and, being quiet, you could still pick up, Mox, jaw-jacking him as he's leaving. Why are you leaving? Why are you running away? So a great segment. And it looks like we're going to be getting, based on the next segment as well, we saw backstage Moxley telling the Inner Circle to check their blind spot. He says that he's cleared and he's out for blood. Moxley says that Hager walked away tonight, but when this thing comes to a head, Hager won't walk away. So it looks like here we're going to be getting Hager and Mox potentially as Mox's first opponent defending that title. What did you think of the backstage stuff in the after Fallout here, Mr. Silvio?
I like that. It was one of those things, like I said about Britt Baker. It was a program that I didn't know I needed. But when I saw they were giving it to me, I was like, okay, I can get on board with that. I think Hager is the perfect first opponent for Moxley. He's big. He's a credible threat. So a great match is when you can't call it, right? When you're not sure who's going to win. Based on booking, odds are maybe stacked towards Moxley, but you can suspend that disbelief. Like, oh, fuck, can he actually beat Hager? So I like that. I thought that was smart booking. Like when we talked about Britt Baker's babyface, we weren't necessarily always connecting with her, but when we turned her heel, it opened up a whole new world. And now she's a strong performer. So I didn't know I needed this feud, but they're doing it, and I'm excited for it.
Mr. Hamin, do you think people are going to criticize the fact that we've got another WWE feud here between two former stars as the headlining for the title?
If they do, they're stupid, because this is the first time in these guys' careers that I've looked at both of them fully and being like, put my hand together and rub them together and be like, yes, let these stallions run and let them do what they want to do and let them do what they know how to do. Jake Hager, even We the People got him over. It's still, you're pigeonholed into a one-trick pony act. Now he's out there, Bellator, kicking ass, side chokes, kneeing guys in the balls, whatever he's got to do. And he's a heel, established with the crew. And Moxley is now, for the first time, truly and believably that James Dean character in wrestling that that WWE needed him to be, and that he wanted to be, that Vince McMahon could never see. And I don't understand, because that's right from Vince's high school days. He should have been able to see that a mile away. But tonight, even with the other stuff with the eye patch and all that went on, I felt that this was one of the first times where I looked at both of them, and it was really in that second promo that Mox did after the run-in and beatdown backstage. 30 seconds, got in, got out, cool as fuck. I knew it was on. Didn't need to overstay my welcome. Bing, bang, boom. Let's do this, big man, and let's go. And that was it, bro. I love the pacing of this segment, and I think it did well. From Chico Adams being in the ring on, that took me back to WWE 1991 with Strangler Steve King standing there waiting to get killed by Yokozuna. It happens how we think it's going to happen. Next part of business gets done, and I'm just thinking to myself, this is when we would be at OVW. Post-show, Al would have everybody out there. He'd go to Hager, did we do business tonight for you? Yeah, how? I'm getting a chance at the championship, and he did good business and got over in his promo afterwards. Very good. And we want to say thanks to Chico for doing great business to make him look strong. Absolutely. Like, all that goes through my head in the second when a segment is done. You know what I mean? I don't know if you get that still or not, but like, everybody there did their job to 99% that they could do it, I thought.
No, I agree with you, man. It was a sensical segment. It's like one of those ones where you can predict what's going to happen in the match because that's what should happen. And then you had Moxley run in. I know some people have issues with this, and I've criticized it when it's not used as well as it should. But I really like the fact that he DDT'd Hager, and Hager stayed strong. I'm a big proponent of protecting big men. So I like that. I know people get mad sometimes about burying someone's finish, but I like that. It just made him look strong. Fucking think of Taker, right? Hager's their biggest dude. Think of Taker. He did the fucking sit up for years. It takes a lot to beat Taker.
To beat him, yeah.
It should take a lot to beat Jake Hager.
And I think they had that conversation and they made that choice. And I think you're right in that too, because I would have played devil's advocate if it was me, you, and Power booking it, and you know, to the best choice win. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. John Mox is a rebel with a cause now. You know,
agreed.
So, and he looks really good. Before we move on to the Exalted ones of VTR, just want to take a moment, of course, let our listeners know. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Vince Russo Bro Coffee. Go to thebrosters.com. I'm drinking a cup right now, as I have been every day. One cup is all you need, because the caffeine hits and you are good to go for hours. So check out thebrosters.com. Don't forget to check out vincerusso.com. Vince Russo, the brand. You can go as well to patreon.com/RussoTWC. And last night, Mr. Russo's Devotion Championship Wrestling was also on Twitch TV. So you can check that out. A friend of mine, who's also here in the Hamin Media Group, Joe Vernola, Dirty J, shout out to you. He did the March 7th tapings for the ring announcer. Said he got to meet Vince Russo, had a really good conversation with him. So shout out to Dirty JV. Of course, you can also check out the War On Morons, podbean.com, the War On Morons podcast with Jay and Anissa. So check them out, guys. And then, let's get right back into the Exalted one now. We got a huge, this VTR was definitely taking aim at Vince McMahon. We got a pre-taped vignette showing Brodie Lee eating a steak as the Dark Order to look on. Nobody else is eating around Brodie Lee. He says that this is the new Dark Order and they do what they want when they want. He says that they are the lions of the AEW and they prey on the weak. one of the Beaver boys starts to eat his steak, but Lee stops him and asks him if he looks like he's done yet, tells him to get out. You don't eat unless I'm eating or before I'm done. And then the other guy, which you and Russo have talked about on Master Shoot and on the Realm the last couple of weeks, somebody sneezes and, Brodie Lee kicks him out of the room because, God damn it, you don't sneeze around. And that's how that VTR before this match starts. Ben, what are your thoughts? And you mentioned at the beginning of the show, there's a lot of shots at WWE here.
Yeah, lots. And, I'm always super pumped to see Brodie, but this isn't where I thought they'd be going with the Dark Order with shots at Vince McMahon, dude. Like Master Shoot Theater style. You know what I mean?
He is your friend, so he is listening.
He may, if he wants to use it on there, fine, go take it, pal. Run with it. Because I'm already doing my thing with it, and I'll happy to come in and tag with him as Vince clone number 455. But that whole thing was a shot.
You should be in the Dark Order. I mean, let's be honest here.
You said it, not me. But the way they're going there's opportunity for me to be, because it's not what I was expecting as a cult leader. The other part of that too, which I don't know about the Vince eating part. I'm sure that's more of a personal story. But I heard recently of like psychopath Hollywood people, like Bill Cosby would make people come in and like 5 or 6 people would have to stand around and watch him eat like Thai noodles and shit like that, like slurp them up. Like there's something in a psychopath's mind to make people uncomfortable and doing that. Like, yeah, like as a power play. Or like make them watch them cut their nails. I've heard of other like what's the dude from The Aviator, Howard Hughes, like so crazy obsessive compulsive things.
Love
like that.
Howard Hughes.
Yeah. So that's a strange but entertaining segment. Not what I was expecting, or I'm intrigued where they're taking this to where it's going. Is it going to be all fuck yous from Brodie to Vince? That's interesting. Is Brodie really going to do Vince? Is he going to become Vince? And if he is, fucking, I'll coach it. He looks good. Brodie looks natural and good. He looks healthy and good to me. I don't think he's on a WrestleMania Triple H diet right now. He's lean. He's been working out. He looks like his cardio's up. And then the match here was a good, strong get-over match. Absolutely, and I think he could have put him away even quicker, to be honest with you. But QT Marshall was so good because he was there for everything to make Brodie's stuff look really clean. I popped in the beginning when Cody stooges off his hair plugs.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
I was like, he's like puts over the Bosley treatment. Dude, that's like a thing in OVW. If you start going bald, they would mess with guys like. I told you how they make girls get breast implants and get nose or cheeks done. Same thing with guys, dude. Same things. Even all the way up to Tommy Dreamer when they did the ECW reboot. Go back and look. Remember when he had his head fucking all bandaged and shit? So even Dreamer had got it done for TV. They'll get to people to make you jump through their fiery hoop. But usually it's like under the radar. And I like that Cody put it right out there, dude. Everything that I think, here's the rule. If anything that WWE kayfabes super hard, do the exact opposite and put it right in the spotlight. Because it's going to make them look like more bigger liars and like everything else that they don't want light shined on. Shine a light on it, show it, and then we move on past it. Meanwhile, they haven't. I think that's a new game they're playing out there.
Yeah, Brodie Lee looked exceptional in a power suit. Mr. Silvio, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I liked the promo segment with the steak, and I thought it was pretty funny too. At the same time, we'll get in the story over. I didn't pick up the Vinceism though until now you mentioned it, and I'm very familiar with Vince McMahon and some of his quirks and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't pick that up till you guys mentioned it. So maybe a lot of the audience didn't as well. I don't know. I'd like to.
There was 3 shots in there at Vince.
Yeah, I didn't catch that one. But as far as Brodie's work with QT, I thought he looked strong. He did very well. And we were talking about doing business earlier. God damn, did QT do business for fucking
absolutely.
Brodie last night.
Because he had to go longer, be there for everything. But to be honest with you, it's not like QT Marshall's forgettable. But in a get over match, you want to almost forget the guy who's wrestling because you do want the other guy to be over that much more. QT did that phenomenally, dude.
That's what a worker fucking does. No ego. Our coach Rip taught us this. You win, you lose with no ego. He's teaming with Dustin now, getting some good opportunities, but he knew his job was to get this fucking guy over.
Yep.
He has got a hell of a work punch. I like that QT was firing up those punches and got a little steam, only to get shut down bigger. And fucking what a bump he took on that lariat. I didn't even know QT could flip like that.
Got up on the big Inzy too, on the Inzy on the outside. He shined when he needed to.
Harker looks, Brodie Lee looked strong. He looked dominant. QT did a good job putting him over. And just like you said with the Hager segment, I think that was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah, I liked their how they had the outline tonight of the matches too, because you before these two matches you had the very long acrobatic technical match, if you will, between Darby Allen and Sabian. And then they kind of gave us some breathers here with the squashes, with Hager going over and with Brodie Lee going over right before we got into this main event match here with Kenny Omega and Sammy Guevara. So I kind of like that. Something I just thought about too is I noticed that there was no tag matches tonight. I'm assuming that probably has to do with the COVID stuff. Less guys out there touching, tagging, maybe.
I would say so too. If you got to run skeleton.
They really, really were taking precautions, and they wanted to keep the staff as manageable as possible this week.
So after the match, interesting, the Creeper leaves a Dark Order mask on top of QT Marshall. Is QT Marshall going to join the Dark Order, Mr. Silvio?
Their punches will improve like 90% if they do.
Go to QT school at Power Factory in Atlanta and learn how to throw some punches.
So commercial break, then we come back. They talked about Matt Hardy's debut, the Inner Circle attack on Nick Jackson, and then we see kind of an update with Nick Jackson. I like how they did this.
I like the shit out of this, bro.
Yeah, this is something they do on BTE, so I'm glad that they introduced it more too. Vanguard 1 flies to Nick Jackson's house, shows Nick Jackson training, and then you see I like how it on the screen it says 61% recovered. Yeah. So Vanguard's got the inside scoop, and then you kind of see Nick like freaking out, like, "What the hell is this drone doing in my house?" As he's running around chasing the drone out of his garage. What did you think of this, Ben? You said you liked it a lot.
I just like the realness of it. Like, you're home, everyone's home. They can't go to the gym and work out. He's in the fucking gimmick in there doing it. We saw him get laid out. They made fun of it. Even the picture they put over earlier that it was, look how effed up he is in the picture. So now we see him, but here it is. Matt Hardy is in this scene, but Matt Hardy is not in this scene. Matt Hardy's world is in this scene. This is what Vince McMahon cannot get, the vision. Look through my lens. Look at other people through my lens. And like now we're into something. It doesn't matter. Now I'm first person drone flying. And look, it's Nick Jackson. He's doing burpees. It doesn't matter. It's a voyeurism thing at this point. The best acting we do is when we say nothing at all. No one said anything here. Then Nick sees it, realizes it's something to do with Matt Hardy, half laughs it off, starts to walk forward. Then you see his mood change like any human being that's a primate, reaches out for the drone jukes back even a little more, and then he starts to get a little hot, and this all happens in 3 seconds. He starts to walk towards it, drone pans out and flies away. We saw 5 different emotions there in less than 20 seconds. A comedy joke that was 61% on a little right over on the screen, and it got more done without saying one fucking word. It's the perfect example of show don't tell, even in the smallest way to further a story.
Mr. Silvio.
Yeah, sometimes subtle is best. And I'm glad you brought up that point about WWE. It dawned on me, I don't know if it's an epiphany realization, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I was watching WWE several months back, and it kind of dawned on me, like you said, Vince doesn't have the vision to be able to see Hardy's vision. And I have a theory as to why that is. When I look at WWE now, I look at it as a style of wrestling. How you have the Japanese style, the cruiserweight style, the hardcore style, the comedy style, whatever it is. WWE is its own thing and style and niche within the greater world of pro wrestling. They are the WWE caricature sports entertainment part. So I think that Vince has just gotten so locked into this formula of how he does things, that until there's a shift in management or some kind of huge direction, I think it's always going to be that way. I think he knows what he wants with this show, and he's going to give it to you. And if you like it, you're going to watch, or you're going to watch and bitch about it, or you're not going to watch it at all. But yeah, that's why I think all of that happens. It's not pro wrestling, as they say. It's fucking WWE. It's their own style. That's what it is.
Well, he said he sat right there in the creative after they premiered it and said, I just don't know. I don't get it. We'll see. And then they put it on there and it did a 3.0 rating. This week they did a 1.7. So
it's not his thing. It's not his vision.
Then he should know enough after, because in that big thing where he took out $3.5 million for liquidity, in the last paragraph, Vince McMahon plans to stay on as chairman and CEO for a future and for the time being. And so nothing will change. You will not be able to look at wrestling through a new creative lens. It'll be the same yes men, same bleeding, and they're not going to do anything exciting. Right now, they've got everybody at Performance Center living in a hotel. Why aren't they doing WWE Big Brother? Why aren't they doing everyone has a daily check-in like this on a cell phone, where the simplest things? Is it sheer laziness? We think we're over. We've been the leader and no one questions us. All those things. Instead of being innovative in a time where people are craving information and craving entertainment, they do the bare minimum. And then your big giant gets online and tells the Dark Order to go fuck off because they can barely make their fucking rent this month. Meanwhile, you took $1.2 million from Saudi murderers. Bravo.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that Braun statement at all.
How could you?
But look at it this way, like from a business standpoint, right? Let's put aside the coronavirus and what's happening now with WrestleMania and the stock. Prior to all this stuff, they've had their most profitable couple years recently. So thinking from a business standpoint, as a businessman, sometimes you don't change what appears to be working. It might not be working for all the audience in the larger world of wrestling, but financially it's been working for them. So let's think about your buddy. You're tight with Vince Russo. Why did Vince McMahon bring Vince Russo on board in the mid-90s?
Because numbers were abysmal and business was way down, 75% down, just like it is now.
Right, but they still have this extreme profitability. I don't think they will pivot until that's what's going to make Vince pivot. If all of a sudden maybe AEW rises and they're on that level where they're getting even with them, or if literally everybody just says, you know what, I'm not tuning in, and he doesn't have the money from Saudi and these other deals, that's when you're going to see him bring somebody in that says, okay, fuck it, pal. We need some attitude. We're going to do it different. Let's get Sean with the sock in his crotch.
I'm right
here. I think that's what it's going to take. Yeah. Fuck, maybe it's a
Did you guys by chance, sorry to interrupt, did you guys by chance get an opportunity, because it came out last week after we recorded the Jericho Hardy podcast that dropped?
I was just about to put that out there. So this could be the most important podcast of my career, to be honest with you. And I'm not even on it. Because at about minutes, I don't want to quote the minute, maybe 16 minutes in, they talk about improvisation. You know what I'm talking about here or not? So... and it's right after the Vince McMahon talk of not getting it. And they both come to the realization and agreement out loud that the best pieces in entertainment and performance are when you let a performer improvise knowing what's in their character and what's in their world and their wheelhouse. And this is what I've been trying to bring to wrestling since I left Chicago in 2006 and showed up the first day handing out photocopies of Truth and Comedy from everyone, from Katie Lee to Paul Burchill to whoever. And some took it and some people were like, get the fuck away from me, Mark. But here are the two top performers in wrestling, Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy, character performers who are about to do a complete improv scene at the end of this show. And it works, but it could be 10 times better. And I'm not saying they suck. I'm saying that neither of them have true improv training, which takes 2 to 3 years, just like wrestling training does. Are they great performers and do they get it? And are they making right choices? Absolutely. But they're still not sure why things are happening positively for them in the games they're playing, and or how to set each other up to make their scene partner look the best they can, to heighten and explore the scene and say yes and to the game and look for patterns. These are all things that need to be trained in muscles and improv. But they both agreed on his podcast that was that. Then they came out and tried to do what I consider a TJ and Dave two-man scene in characters. Now, in improv, we don't have the luxury of dressing up and being in our gear. Like, I could do something where I take a helmet off object work-wise and you realize that I might be something, right? Or, that I'm taking my gloves off a hazmat suit or something. But here we have the actual visual. So the onus needs to be on the relationship and the words in the improv scene and how we're like jazz musicians trading back and forth. I play, you play. I play, you play. Stevie and I, young writer Vince McMahon, nothing's planned. It's back and forth. It's give and take. Ping pong, tennis. Here comes a guy to enter in the scene and do a little run in, change the scene and move it. It's everything that I've put in 13 years of wrestling to that they talked about on his podcast that they try to do in the close of this show. And maybe I'll reach out to Matt and try and maybe I'll just send him some books and stuff because he's so on it, but he doesn't know fully why. It's almost like some Luke Skywalker shit. Like, you're a Jedi, you got the metachlorians, you can wipe out a ton of motherfuckers, but are you really at the pinnacle of where your skill set could be? And it's not because you're not trying, it's because you don't have the masters to bring you there where he possibly could be. I was really pumped for this scene coming off of that podcast.
Yeah,
Mr. Silvio,
that's cool, man.
Did you happen to listen into the podcast at all yet, by chance?
I didn't. I want to check it out. I think Jericho did a little bit of, what's that group called? I mean, is it the Growlings?
He worked with the Groundlings, yeah. And guys out there are doing it. The only other person that I can't Barry Horowitz myself fully, and there's a lot of people who've worked with him and whatnot, but Ryan Nemeth, before he went to FCW and wrestling, did go through Improv Olympic. And look what he's done, bringing his brother into stand-up comedy and what they're doing, making their own movies and whatnot. So he's really the only other wrestler that I could honestly say he knows Del Close, Chicago improv, IO comedy front to back and can apply it in wrestling. Now, he's also got leading man Ken Dow good looks. Right. He doesn't have to do a ton of characters. He's a body guy, and he's brother to a guy who's already a star. Not trying to take anything away from his performance.
No, he's funny as hell.
Yeah, he's super funny and an accomplished author, And he's brought in guys like Aaron Idol Stevens into that comedy realm, and they're kind of getting it. But I got to be honest with you. I get my respect and you do because we're rip guys, because you train for 2 or 3 years for hardcore. You got to do the same thing in improv to really get it and understand it to where you can talk it. And then you got to go perform it 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week for 3 years to really get those muscles where they need to be. And that's all I'm saying about those guys in that scene. They're right there, but there's a whole new world, yes, a new expansive point of view for you guys to grab into that improv world. And because those guys open the door on that podcast, I feel like I've got a lot of opportunity to talk to wrestlers that are on a high level about a new way to look at things, dude.
I think there's a difference to the terminology of improv as it relates to pro wrestling than it would as it relates to like the comedy and theater aspect. There are some similarities, but I think when you reference improv and pro wrestling, it means speaking without a script or wrestling without a set guideline or outline. So I think they're kind of two different dynamics that may be a little difficult to compare.
Not even
However,
at all.
I will say that to your credit, I think any wrestler and any performer can benefit from that. I did just a little bit of improv work with you in like 07 and 08, and there were some lessons that I took with me to this day that still help me as a performer. So I think it's useful, but I think it's an odd comparison because it's a different kind of improv.
I wish I could show you even more, because until you really get into the trenches of it, where we have entrance, shine, heat, comeback, heat, shut them down, falsy. It's the same thing in a formless form in an improv structure of how to build a show and how to build a match the right way. So we already start with that premise. And I agree, right now we have this and they're just barely touching, but if we were totally to meld them, the wrestling will benefit 1,000 times more. And what can improv take from wrestling? When we get in a fight on a stage and an improv scene, it always goes slow motion so you don't hurt the person. Be like, fuck you, I'll kick your ass. Bring it. Oh yeah? Ooh. No, it's funny and it's safe, but stage combat can be taken from wrestling to improv. I believe that could be the trade-off, and the psychology of how you work heel characters and play into a heel's game.
To the improv world, you've already done all this stuff performance-wise. Why don't you know how to throw a word punch, you know how to throw safe strikes. Why don't you try bringing that to the theater world, man?
Jesus,
that might be a new niche for you.
I can't wait to teach nerds how to throw shitty punches. That'd be fucking great.
A 15-year-old Matt who played Mercutio would have loved how to take a proper bump during the sword fight. I'm just saying.
Yeah, stage combat and all that stuff can be taken into there. But right now, the bigger window, because if you were to, if what I always wanted to do, aside from being, the Vince Russo of this generation, is to bring improv to them, to NXT, to train them in that 2 to 3 years. Because once you have that crop of talent farmed, then they go main roster. Now you can wipe out 20 writers. You don't need these fuck faces. These people know their characters. They know how to react to each other. They know the game of the scene. They know where they can even fit in to help a scene from the sidelines and where their worlds will interact. But until we implement full Chicago improv, Upright Citizens Brigade, Second City, IO, the Groundlings into wrestling training at its most base levels, we'll never be able to get to the performance at that highest level that these guys are striving to get to, but they don't know fully how to get there.
I agree with you, man. I think it would be great. And I think there's a respect between each group when their worlds join together. When Jamin Olivencia and I did the elaborate entrance.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Which I thank Jamin for. Jamin got me hooked up with the creators of that. And thankfully I had an opportunity. But our job there, we were teaching these theater nerds, fucking just actors, good people, how to do a super kick, how to take bumps. And I had to wrestle this jacked up. I had to teach this guy, a jacked up actor who had never really seen wrestling. And we had to have a 3-minute live match as part of Act 2 of this play. It was the one full wrestling match. And so I took him, I literally within 2 hours choreographed and planned out the match with him, told him his cues, where to stand, where to be. We did all the bumps on the crash pad. I took like a power bomb, a spine buster, some other big guy stuff that I knew I could feed for and get up for and make him look good. And if you were watching, you couldn't tell that this guy wasn't a wrestler. And I saw the appreciation those actors got for pro wrestling because they had to take bumps. Everyone on the crew had to take bumps and learn how to bump. And Jamin was teaching them all that. And when I came in, I helped with that. And they were sore. They had ice packs on. Like, they really had an appreciation for what we did. And it gave Jamin and I a complete different appreciation for the theater world. So, yeah, they meld very well together. I agree with you, Pops.
And your tap dance game has never been better since you were done with that show. I think you're bringing the noise and bringing the funk, man. Yeah, elaborate entrance of Chad Deity, and definitely want to get Jamin on here soon. I haven't given him enough opportunities to be on the air, and a guy I owe a ton to of smarting me up in this business. Otherwise, I would have cut my throat 10 times over if it wasn't for the J-Man, and I love him so much. But, yeah, this was a great closing scene. Between Jericho and him passing back and forth. Any other closing sentiments on this? Jericho was trying to out him a little bit of just being Matt Hardy, a guy who can't cut it, and Matt saying, I'm 3,000 years old. Yeah, I like that.
It was good. It was funny. I like how he kept referencing the presence in the crowd and Jericho couldn't see him. Good back and forth dialogue, great character work on both guys. I thought it was really strong. MSG, let us know your thoughts on this, and then we'll circle back to the last match of the show too.
Yeah, I really liked the ending dialogue between Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho. Something that I brought up last week that they did here in the main event was to get rid of the mic and kind of come out with the lav mic since you have nobody else out there. And to me, I know that Cody and Kenny kind of they kind of threw the
Britney Spears mic.
The Britney Spears mic reference, which you guys even talked about last week, which I thought was funny. I was like, oh, that must be a wrestling universal thing to think like that too. But if to me, it felt more real. Nobody's there. You don't need a mic. The dialogue with the lavalier mic, I kind of felt like the characters came to life, and I became more invested into the dialogue, into the conversation, because it felt like two people that were naturally just talking versus trying to cut a promo on each other. So I liked that aspect. It was really good. You brought up some of the things Jericho referencing that, Matt Hardy believes that he's 3,000 years old, and Jericho's kind of making light of that. So
he even made light of Judas, and he claims that he's Jesus without saying it. I thought that was a brilliant, brilliant line, dude. Not just brilliant to put over his broken brilliance, but like, yeah, yes, your song Judas. Yes, he betrayed me once too. Well, who did Judas betray? He doesn't say Christ, but he implies that he's the Christ. Dude, that type of stuff is fucking phenomenal, and that's where every performer should be striving. In improv, we say play to the height of your character's intelligence. Well, if your character's 3,000 years old, what major, pillars of people in life could you pull from? It's endless, dude. It's endless.
Yeah, I thought this was very, very well done. It got over the fact that we are going to have a collision course with Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho, and I thought this promo just, it implemented that. To sum up this whole conversation, something you guys have been, the thread of this is that the best artists seem to, of course, create something magical in that improvisational setting. I like to think of it as music. You can teach anybody how to play the note and play a song, but I can't teach you how to jam. That's something you've got to be able to find on your own and play over and over and find that ear. So it's the same kind of way with.
That's it. If they don't have the fundamentals, you're not going to learn how to jam, really, right? You have to have some basic premise of the rules to agree on. And that's what they're trying to do in this improv scene. And they both have, they're more than beginner players, no doubt about it. They just don't know the rules, to break down that A, C sharp, E is a one chord, right? Like they,
right.
The fact of that, they just know that it sounds nice. That's the difference.
Right. They're not playing in the pocket necessarily, right? They're kind of moving around. But let's circle back then, to the main event. Very long. They gave this match the full time, if you will, and that was Kenny Omega taking on Sammy Guevara. Kenny Omega defending his AAA Mega. I don't know how to pronounce it. Mega Championship. Like I said, this match, they gave this some time because this went through, I believe, 2 commercial breaks. So you had 3. It was a total of 3 segs here. Very long match. I'm not going to go over everything, but the conclusion of this match, we do see Kenny Omega picking up the victory with the V trigger and the drill claw, or the one wing angle. I'm sorry, and he picked up the victory. So the winner of this match, still your AAA champion, Kenny Omega. After the match, and as far as what went down, this kind of bled into each other because we did see Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho, brawling, and then Cody Omega hit the ring and they laid out both Jericho and Guevara, with them all standing tall, and Matt Hardy's yelling delete. So, but the match itself was good, full 20 minutes. Omega gets the victory. What did you think, Mr. Silvio?
I didn't think the match was good. I thought the match was excellent. Really, really good wrestling. Guevara is getting better every week. He's doing his part. And he threw in a lot of character work with the posters and making out with the poster of Brandy and all that stuff.
That popped me.
Right?
It was excessive. That's why, he started to go, and then he really committed, and I was like, yeah.
Cody was like, I'm so glad we weren't live on TNT for that part.
They must have been, because I've watched the TNT version. But,
okay, wow.
But no, they did great. But what stands out to me the most of this is Kenny Omega. I always put Sammy over. And Kenny Omega was this huge star in Japan, and I didn't really follow too much of his work in Japan. I don't follow Japanese wrestling that closely. I like it, but I just don't follow it too closely. So I didn't quite know much of what Omega was truly about till I started seeing him perform in America. And I kind of watched from the launch of AEW to now how he's really found a cool way to mold that Japanese style and Americanize it a bit to where it fits like a glove in this world of wrestling. And I thought he's been doing a phenomenal job recently with Hangman and everything he does. That match he had with Pac, I just thought he did a fucking phenomenal job with Sammy. They had a bang up match. What I will say about the whole show is there are restrictions, health restrictions, legal restrictions, and there was a very light crew. But I got to give AEW credit for putting together some very good matches in a difficult circumstance and giving us a good wrestling show, not just a gimmick or something else. And it ended with a really, really strong pro wrestling match. And then we had the Hardy and Jericho stuff. So props to them. I thought that, again, they worked their asses off to give us something good in a difficult situation.
Yeah, I got blown up watching it. I was like, I'm glad they're doing it because this ain't my style. And there wasn't a lot of no-sells bullshit in this. I like Guevara. Well, I like that he stunts on guys because he's that little smart-ass dude who should be doing that. He did the one spin out and pose, the sexy boy pose on Omega right in the beginning when Omega should have been a little stronger. I like to see him do those stunts and get caught right there. Like Omega could have slid out, pulled his hand out, and he takes a bump and shows a little ass right there. You know what I mean? There's opportunities to do that. So they're getting the spot in at the right time. Now that we're seeing him, can we ratchet him up a little bit? You're not going to get that shit on me. And he looks even more pissed, which will make Sammy go into his heat quick, so there's a lot of that character stuff can always lead to fun little opportunities, especially with heels working heels. I was working the Dirty Vets, and I had the one dude, and I looked down, I bit him on the back of his calf, and I think I'm getting my heel heat, and I forgot that they're the Dirty Vets heel. All of a sudden I feel my fucking leg go up, he's fucking biting me on my fucking back of the thing. That's the improvisation in the ring that you're talking about. And nothing that we called, but fuck it, I'm a heel too. I'll get his ass. And then we're both selling around and it's us showing ass, but we were getting our heel stuff over, I think there's opportunities like them to do fun little things like that. So hopefully it presents itself and hopefully we get to see some aha moments like that from them.
I think we will. But yeah, great match. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, overall, I thought the show was top to bottom pretty good in comparison to other wrestling shows maybe out there right now. There's a lot of good storyline developments, a lot of good business, as you guys, the terminology as far as the different feuds and different, what they're trying to set up moving forward.
Impact's the only company out here that can draw. Nobody can draw except Impact.
Speaking of other companies, before we wrap this up, friend of ours, a friend of the Hamin Media Group, and of course, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge mark for him. Mr. Killer Cross finally had his VTR package that debuted last night on NXT. You mentioned them doing stuff where they took the card cam angle, it appears, as far as how they're positioning and shooting. Do you think they're going to do anything special for WrestleMania? I mean, should they leave this empty seat crowd up? They've got the technology. They could just put giant Titantrons or it was LED lights around the ring.
It was during Tommaso and Gargano's thing that's going to be the final blow off, right? That this is done. So something where he comes in and kills them both, and maybe they have to try and unite against a bigger enemy, or who knows which way they're going to go. I don't know how much punches are left on Tommaso's bump card, but at least they're injecting him in the NXT angle with the two top talents that it's believable that he could come in and murder them both. And people look at those guys as top guys. How are you going to look at Killer Cross? Right. So
yeah,
I think it's a smart play to put him in there. And I just hope that they have the right amount of eyes on him. Here's another guy who's getting hurt real bad in his debut by this coronavirus. And do you put it on the shelf and try when things are normal, or do you go ahead with the way things were planned? It's a tough call, man. I don't know what I would do without sitting in the meetings for 3 or 4 hours and really talking it out.
Well, if you want your full NXT recap, you can check out the Next Level podcast with Andrew Bello, which is up right now on hackerhamin.podbean.com. I can tell you, as a person who does not watch NXT, I will probably tune in next week just because I'm a big Cross fan. So, definitely, hopefully, can garner some new viewers.
It's a good show. You should watch it, Matt.
All right. I'll check it out. I'm just, haven't been necessarily the biggest fan of some of the content.
I don't not watch it because I can't, just because I have to watch 14 other hours of wrestling away and edit all these podcasts. I would love to be able to watch something else once in a while. Yeah, man, this was a solid show. I thought, again, for the Empty Arena, are we getting close to jumping the shark? How many more of these do we have left where we can come up with some trickery? I think AEW is, again, outshining everybody because even when it's about the storyline and the furthering, they're doing it in pre-tape or either post or right after the match happens, So like Moxley's thing, the Get Over, or with Swagger, and then it happens. So we get all that segment right together. It's easy to digest that way. And guys who usually need the crowd are just kind of finding their inner character, like Darby Allen, to fire up when they need to. And Cody,
Sammy in there too, bro.
What's that?
Throw Sammy Guevara in there too.
Yeah, Sammy too. And Cody, if I wrestle you, you can beat me with one. You don't got to hit me with two.
Silvio, what did you think of the show as a whole?
Real good. I enjoyed it, and I think going forward, I mean, you have a point to what you're saying. Like, how long will you be able to do something similar? So I think they need to really flex their creative muscle if they're going to continue doing these and keep doing things to make each one different, just like they do every other week. But I think they have enough intelligent minds there between the Cody, the Bucks, Jake Roberts, Arn Anderson, Jim Ross, Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy. They got the fucking team.
I hope so. I hope so.
Let's get our shit in, boys.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, I was going to say, of course, shout out to the chat room. We got about 20 viewers here live watching us, so we appreciate you on twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. Sonic the Hedge Rat has a conspiracy, though, for you, Ben. He says he just found out that even though parts of the WWE Network are free, he can't watch any matches associated with Vince Russo for free. He can't watch any Stevie Richards, Big Vito, Shane Douglas. They're listening, pal. You want to pay to watch these guys,
You're going to get the best of the best, pal. Yeah, you're going to pay top dollar for Stevie Richards. But, yeah, you can get some Vince Russo stuff. Just watch the WrestleManias with Stone Cold. That's all, Vinny Roo. But you might not see him on camera, and that's fine because you can go over to russosbrand.com for $3. Pay that. Go to patreon.com/RussoTWC. Check out Master Shoot Theater. I think one of the best episodes ever, possibly in a time of complete craziness and where, life is stranger than fiction, and it's always about truth and comedy. I want to thank, obviously, thebrosters.com for the Russo Bro. If you guys want to get yourself something nice, go over there to thebrosters.com. Check out that coffee, and you'll definitely be enjoying it. I know that. But if you can't, just go follow them at Coffee Brosters. Let them know that Hamin Media Group sent you. That does us a solid for promotions-wise. If you want to look at donuts, you can always follow at Dippin' Donuts CNY, and I'm posting donut porn every day. As always, ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben. I mean, big thanks to the War On Morons.podbean.com, our official sponsor for the entire month and next month as well. Infidels, follow them. Get more content so you don't have to watch any of this bullshit on TV all the time. You can support Hamin Media Group. Join the hackerhamin.podbean.com Loyal Army. Join the discussion group. Join StevieRichardsFitness.com. You're sitting at home shoving cookies in your fat ass mouth all the time. Get up and do some resistance bands, infidels. And then if you're a wrestler, you're definitely going to go to Silvio seminars with Matt Seidel. That's right. And Marty, that's right. You're going to learn something today, infidels, and I'll teach you if it's going to be learned the hard way with a $5 face slap or Chris Silvio drilling it on you over and over again. Y'all, get him, Sil.
Yeah, so let me put that over while we have this downtime. I'm busy as hell working on a lot of projects. I'm super excited. I've just joined up with a bunch of killer coaches from all over the world. What we started is this program called the Coaching Cooperative. So basically every week I'm going to join up with one special guest coach. This week will be Matt Seidel, and we're going to be doing a approximately 90-minute web class this Saturday at 3 p.m. Next week I'll be on with Rudy Gonzalez, who opened up Texas Wrestling Academy with Shawn Michaels. So what we've done is we know that the wrestling economy is struggling. Guys are out of work. So what we wanted to do is give guys a way to keep learning while they're stuck at home and make it affordable to everyone. So our rates are generally $30 per class. While this coronavirus shit's going on, we're just offering a special rate to any of the boys for $10. You can take this class. You will literally learn from world-class people. So 100% of any proceeds from this are going to go to running the program and making sure that we can get you guys excellent coaches, no hacks, just very, very good people.
I was talking earlier. Matt said Timmy Baltimore's coming on to do one as well. Yeah, for announcers. So Vic Reed, Jargo, all my guys. Big Ray should definitely be checking that one out.
Bruce Mahoney's going to do referee classes.
Awesome.
We got a lot of we got NXT UK guy coming. We have a lot of cool coaches lined up.
Did you get that invite to the Snake Pit I sent you?
Mm-hmm, I did.
Did you? I was saying because that's kind of for the boys only and whatnot. But
I saw it was pretty cool though.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I can't join.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I'm not
fine.
sure how much they're opening it up yet. I didn't want to be the guy to be like, "Hey, everybody, come in." But I thought, Sil, you could add a lot there or take a lot from there for your own. You know what I mean, as well.
Yep. So if you want to take part in this, hit me up on social media on Facebook, either at Chris Silvio or Chris Silvio's Superstar Seminars, or send an email to us at thecoachingcooperative@gmail.com. Also, I mentioned a little earlier, I'm working on a little audio project in the downtime. So I'm putting together some funny and wrestling related content that I'm going to release soon. So the wrestling lovers like myself can have a few laughs and enjoy some cool wrestling content while we're stuck in the house.
Awesome.
So keep them busy, getting the ball rolling, boys.
That's right. I'll be there. I know I was talking about with Rick last night. We were both like, dude, we got to sign up for the commentator seminars. That's pretty awesome. So I think that'll definitely be pretty cool. Of course, guys, you can check out the rest of our shows right here. hackerhamin.podbean.com, the Monday, the Wednesday, the Friday Locker Room, the Smack Attack, the Impact Attack, Next Level Podcast, the Infinite Fringe, Crow 777, Ha 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 Mean, the Horror Junkyard, the New Forced Order Podcast, Voices of Misery Podcast, and so much more. You can also check out my season finale of Suck My Balls, South Park Season 1, which is right now on Suck My Balls. You can just search that anywhere. And if you are a fan of South Park, we are opening it up to you as well. I've already got 2 people booked for the next season's review. If you'd like to come on the show and review a show with us, come on and review a South Park episode. Anyway, go ahead, Ben. Take us away, sir.
Y'all infidels, you know where it is. hackerhamin.podbean.com. AEW doing the good for the world, giving us entertainment, putting their bodies on the line in the empty arena where the bumps hurt twice as much, infidels. So shout out to all your favorite wrestlers. Give them a thanks and maybe come over here and I'll give you a $5 face slap just for the fun of it because you deserve one. Get outside, do some exercise when you can, but don't get arrested or do. Y'all, it's like the Fuse, Hacker Hamin, MSG, Chris Silvio.